All right. Well, welcome to Joe, our last episode of the Mortgage Update with Mike and Joe of 2024. Unbelievable. What a fast year. Unbelievable. Still having a hard time taking you serious in that hat, but it'll wear on me.
So we're 2 weeks away from Christmas.
Yep. And
2 weeks away from Hanukkah.
Yep.
15 days away from Kwanzaa, and only 20 days left in the month.
Unbelievable.
It's time to get everything you wanted to get done in 2024 done, Mike.
Exactly.
It's been a fast year. We got a lot done though.
No, it's been you know what? All things considered, obviously there were a lot of headwinds that the entire industry had to face this year in regards to just continued, just not a lot of houses for sale. Rates really never came down.
Yep.
Obviously just some of the for a brief moment, right? But didn't really, sustain.
Right.
So we've been living in this kind of high 6 rate environment. But all that being said, I would be remiss if I didn't, first of all, thank our clients, the realtors, the builders, everybody that we work with that were kind enough to send business to GRB. We're very thankful. We appreciate it. Also, Joe, I want to thank you and our entire team here at GRB for making this another year of success for GRB. I think it's, I celebrated my 10th year with the bank, so it was just another great year, even in light of some of the headwinds that we face. But
don't forget about the people behind the scenes.
And the people behind the scenes,
especially
our marketing team, our operations team, our processors, our underwriters, our closers, post closers, secondary marketing, accounting, finance. It's servicing. Takes
a village.
Takes a village. It does. So, but we're excited about the new year. But before we shift into business, just a little bit about the holidays. I know you got a big family.
Yep.
I know your kids are probably getting excited. What are some of your favorite holiday traditions?
I think at this time of year, especially, it's spending the time with the family, enjoying the moment. My kids are getting older, so times are changing slightly, right? So just enjoying that, and and also reflecting on the year, how things went. Did I accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, etc. Just spending the time and enjoying some of the peace and quiet, right? It does, that last couple of weeks of the month gets a little quieter.
Right
now we're in the thick of it. We're running from event to event, and as we get into the next couple of weeks, it starts to slow down, and you're actually able to take a moment to breathe and reflect and just start to set your eyes towards next year and what you're trying to do.
Right.
So I think of course every year my dad and I make a batch of limoncello.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
And so it's the lemons are soaking right now.
Okay.
So probably next week or so we'll be bottling it up and starting to give that out as a nice little holiday closer.
Yeah. Christmas Eve, I would imagine, when we have our friends over and family, that bottle doesn't make it to Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So just so you know, because it's that good. So I know I'm looking forward to it as well. We always have our family over. Really, Christmas Eve is a bigger deal at our house, and then at the end of it, we always watch "It's a Wonderful Life" because I think it's just a great story, and it's also a story about a guy that who's a mortgage banker. So those if you really pay attention, George Bailey is a mortgage banker. So just duly noted. I thought I'd toss that out there. So we got the Bills this weekend. Obviously, tough loss.
Yep.
To the Rams was an absolute shootout. But we've only got, what is it, three games left or 4 games left?
There are 4 games left.
Okay.
Right now the Bills are sitting at 10-3.
Okay.
My prediction was 12-5.
Okay.
Yours was a little lower.
Mine's not looking too good. I think you're okay.
But it was a tough game. Allen was Superman in that game, right? 6 total touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards. I think he outgained a lot of offenses, his yardage. But our defense and our special teams just let us down.
Yep, exactly.
So, but you know what? We haven't had a lot of games like that this year. So, sometimes it happens. Get it out of the system now before we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, this next week will be a test.
Yeah, Lions is going to be tough.
Yeah. Well, Joe, let's shift gears to real estate and mortgages. So obviously, November's done. Obviously, we're just, beginning December. Tell us a little bit about the market for November. Anything change or just more of the same?
Interestingly, in Monroe and surrounding counties, we finished the month averaging 10.1%, 10.01 over list, which was up from October, which was at 8.98. So
Okay.
little jump, pretty close to where we were. We did see a dip in the government volume, only 9% of the volume in Monroe and surrounding, where it was 10% in October. So not a big dip, but a dip. Monroe County on its own saw an increase over ask from 10.32 in October to 13.28 in November. So it's less houses on the market, right? A little bit more competition for what's out there. But again, we're still hearing about opportunities, right? So the highest percentage over ask transaction was in 14616, property on Patty Hill Drive. And then the highest dollars over ask transaction was in Fairport. It was 125.5 over ask, which is about 20% over.
Wow.
So a big dollar amount over, but not a big percentage based on purchase price. And then, we actually saw a new, so Greece and Irondequoit historically have been kind of battling it out, hottest market. So this month, Greece and Gates actually jumped up on the list.
Okay.
Typically not a lot of transactions in that zip code, but we saw 6 in that zip code and 8 in Greece. So those transactions, and then Fairport was in third with 4 transactions. Percentage over ask in Greece average 3.06, Gates 3.37. So, there's that opportunity, right? The percentage over ask isn't huge, but more transactions in those particular zip codes. And then Fairport was averaging 18.2%. So less transactions, but higher average.
Right.
And then the number of zip codes with averages under ask jumped from 5 to 8.
Okay.
So again, as we see some more of those opportunities coming up, interestingly, a lot of the conversations I've been having at some of these holiday parties with realtors is they got a lot of listings coming in January.
Yeah.
Seems to be the common trend from hearing that from people, which is great to hear. Hopefully there's a good amount of listings out there. So
what about in Syracuse?
Going down the highway there to our friends down in Onondaga County. So Onondaga and surroundings, we finished basically flat, 0.88% over, which was down from the 2.9% over we saw in October. Government volume, went down a little bit, but still 28.5% of our volume in Onondaga and surrounding counties was government business. 2 of those transactions were in Onondaga themselves, and then the remaining were in the surrounding counties. Onondaga County on its own was at 9.57% over. So it's really those surrounding counties.
Sure.
We're seeing it kind of pull the rest of the area down. And that was, up slightly from the 9.31 in the previous month. And the decrease in the average list price from 264 to 254. So
okay. That's a good update. I mean, obviously, one of the things, Joe, that I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of, I know there'll be a lot of, there'll be invites pushed out to this, but one of the things that's going to be coming up, I think it's the end of January, is the annual economic forecast that the Mortgage Bankers Association, that you're obviously presently the president of.
and you're going to be on the panel for that too.
I'm on the panel for that.
I voluntold you this.
Okay, great, super. But that's a great event. I mean, obviously, for the realtors that are listening to this, a lot of the news that we hear, is really national in scope. And certainly this meeting we'll talk about what's going on throughout the entire country. But what's I think refreshing about this is that this is going to be, one, there will be updates that are provided in regards to what the economists predict are going to happen in our backyard, what's going to happen with rates. But obviously, I know, Joe, this is something you've been working on with the Reimagined Rochester team, is really kind of this initiative around increasing the inventory, which has been an issue for us. So you guys are going to talk about that as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is always a very well-attended event. I think last year we were right up around 400 people that came.
Yep.
And we try to put the content on there to give everybody an insight into the local side of things, right? We can all gather the news and see the big headlines, but when you want to, real estate is very local.
Right.
And so, knowing what's going on here is going to be different than what's going on in Syracuse, et cetera.
Sure.
So, just getting that zoom in into our particular area, and we will We will have a speaker from the National MBA who will talk about mortgage rates and what that forecast projection is. Jim Yako will give an update on just the local GRAR outlook and what the local real estate market outlook is for the year. But then we're going to dive into this panel discussion with some guests and talk about what steps the Reimagine Rock Housing Initiative has taken thus far,
Right.
what impact it's had, because it's starting to have an impact on some of these counties and towns
Right.
where they're starting to allow some different things to happen.
Right.
We'll take a look at the state level from your vantage point of
Yeah.
being the president of the state MBA this year. And then we'll also have another guest on the panel as well. So
Okay.
really excited for that. It's always a great event. And it's great to get so many like-minded people in the room to just hear. And ultimately, the goal from the end of that is to have some type of call to action, right? Have something where people can help get involved and help push this initiative along, because it takes a village just like anything else.
It does. Good stuff. So, I mean, just to comment on rates, obviously rates have been flat. We had the CPI news came out today. They're using this, that the CPI was a little warmer than expected. But I think really right now we're in kind of this holding pattern.
Yeah.
And I think we need to see as we go into the new year what policy changes take place, in DC and what impact they have on the economy, rates, and certainly every month we'll be talking about it. So more to come. So, Joe, obviously, this is an exciting time of year for GRB. As we move in, this is the time of year where we begin to learn about the 2025 Homebuyer Dream Program. And I think to level set this for everybody, GRB is, we're a member of the Federal Home Loan Bank of New York, which you have to be to offer this program. We've been engaged with the Federal Home Loan Bank. I'm obviously before Homebuyer Dream, it was the first home club. I think we're probably going into our eighth or ninth year when we look at both programs, and really have become a leader in regards to offering this program in terms of the amount of money that we lend, the amount of grants that we do. It's really something that we're very proud of. So, Joe, I know you just did the training yesterday, right, for the rollout of the program. So maybe kind of speak to the timeline that we see going on, and then we can begin to kind of frame up what the next steps look like.
Yeah. So, every year the Federal Home Loan Bank gives us, hey, this is going to be the launch date of the program, right? So this year they've rolled out that the launch date's going to be February 10th. Last year we had the Homebuyer Dream Program, which launched in January, and then the Homebuyer Dream Plus program, which launched in March. So this year they're going to launch at the same time. And there is actually a third new program coming out, which I'll talk about in a second. But the Homebuyer Dream Program, it's a grant for first-time home buyers. It gives them a grant towards their closing costs and down payment on the home. They have to be a first-time home buyer, meaning they haven't owned a primary residence within the last 3 years. And they have to be under 80% of the area median income. That qualifies them for the Homebuyer Dream Program. If their household income is over 80% of the area median income, but less than 120% of the area median income, they can qualify for the Homebuyer Dream Plus program.
Okay.
And so another grant for first-time home buyers, and another assistance with down payment and closing costs. We are working on developing what our approach to the program is going to be, how much the grants will be for. Part of that is understanding, which we will over the next few weeks, how much money we're going to be allotted for to kind of push out in these grant programs.
Right.
And then there is a third program coming out, which is called they're calling it the Wealth Builder Program. And what this program is it's meant for first-time home buyers, but first-generation home buyers. So home buyers who attest that one of their family members or their parents did not own a home in the U.S. prior. And another grant towards down payment and closing costs. This one goes up to 120% of the area median income. And another caveat to this, if you're not a first-generation home buyer, is if you currently live in a majority minority census tract. And you can buy anywhere as long as you're buying within the territory of the Federal Home Loan Bank. So you don't have to buy within that census tract. It's if you currently reside in that census tract, you're eligible for that program as well. So
that's great.
Another great program from the Federal Home Loan Bank. I mean, these are really great programs to talk about at the holiday parties,
Yeah.
right? How can we help you get some money to buy a house?
Yeah.
Last year at this time, or as we headed into January, we got a slew of leads that came in because people set their New Year's resolution to, I want to buy a house in 2024.
Right.
And so, they start calling and figure out what can we do. There's no better programs for first-time home buyers than these grants because they are truly, they're forgivable.
Mm-hmm.
The Homebuyer Dream is actually forgiven over 5 years. The Homebuyer Dream Plus and the Wealth Builder Program, there's no actual
Forgiveness, right.
So
Mhm.
it's just, you get the money at closing and you're done. That's your credit.
Yeah.
So, great programs at the Federal Home Loan Banks. We'll be sharing some more initiatives. We're going to have some info sessions for people, really try and create the awareness around the product. So you'll start to see more on that coming.
Yeah. I think, one of the things just to share with everybody that's listening, one of the things that we're looking at is, the Federal Home Loan Bank is going to give us a pool of funds. One of the strategies and one of the things that we feel makes the most sense is to arrive at a grant amount that certainly helps buyers get into a home, minimize their out-of-pocket expense, but try to, use those funds to help as many households as we can. So there'll be more details to come on this, going forward, but we want to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a position to help as many families, as we can.
Sure.
And Joe, as we wrap up this year, one of the things that, I think about in hindsight, we have rolled out so many programs, this year, rate relief plus, enhancements to the U of R program, the Cash Plus Guarantee program, multiple products.
Partnership with the Rochester City School District.
Rochester City School District. More programs for investors, extended rate locks for new construction. We've really, I think, tried to make certain that we were creating products and programs to adjust to the needs of the marketplace. And 2025, obviously, I think the only thing that we can expect is more change, more uncertainty, and we're just going to continue to adapt with this marketplace. So one of the things too, we want to make certain that you guys subscribe. So Joe, what can people do to subscribe, to like, to get more involved with our podcast?
You can just go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, right?
Okay.
So we had thrown out a challenge, right? Neither of us are dressed in any type of Christmas attire because
Right.
our challenge was to get a high percentage of our listeners to subscribe. And we wanted our listeners to be subscribers as well. So we didn't see those numbers shift. I think what happened is everybody probably listened to the podcast and then they subscribed. So it didn't register as they were subscribed.
Okay.
We'll give them the benefit of the doubt this time.
Okay.
But hopefully next month, and we start to see those numbers increase, we're going to throw out some interesting listener challenges, I guess.
Right.
See what kind of costumes we can pull out of Pulver's closet.
Okay. Exciting. Be fun. So, well, with that being said, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday season.
Yes.
Looking forward to getting my annual bottle of limoncello. It won't last long. So thank you, Joe, and thank you guys for listening. Have a great one. See you.
Happy holidays.